What is up, guys? Humphrey here. I'm back with another video, but today's video is a little bit different. As you can probably tell from the title, we're doing a question and answer, and that's because I just recently crossed 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. So for all of you guys that are watching, that are subscribed, thank you so much. I never thought I would get to 30,000, much less 10,000. So the fact that we're at 30,000 is really cool. I'm looking forward to the next, I don't know, 10, 20,000, etc. But yesterday I put out an Instagram story on my story. I put a story on my Instagram story, yeah, asking for questions about me that you would like to know. I got a lot of good financial questions. I got some questions about me, so this video is just dedicated to that. And if you don't follow me on Instagram already, I'll put it up here, and hopefully you guys can, you'll find me there, and I post stuff there all the time. So let's get right into the questions, and starting with number one from user named Marmy. I appreciate this. Where are you from? So a lot of you guys don't know where I'm from. I'm actually from the Bay Area in California. I grew up here. I live in a town called Redwood City. I actually live on the border of Redwood City and another town, but basically I'm on the peninsula in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm really close to Facebook and Stanford University. But I lived here my whole life. I haven't really lived anywhere else. I've lived in Hong Kong for 6 months before. I've lived in Beijing for about 6 months before. But other than that, I've kind of just stuck in this area. Obviously, I went to college in Seattle at the University of Washington. I guess most of you guys don't even know that either. But I went to the University of Washington for 2 years. And then I transferred to Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. And that's where I got my finance degree. So that kind of like spurred the interest in finance, I would say. But originally, I'm from the Bay Area, and if you're ever in the peninsula and you see me, I would love to say hi to you. I've had a couple people come up to me before, and I always think that's really cool. So I would always appreciate that. So yep, that's where I'm from. The second question comes from S. Graham on the gram. First of all, I love your username. That's really awesome. And second of all, for a savings account, I always recommend just having your emergency fund in your savings account, because that's all you really need in a savings account. So an emergency fund is 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up in an account, and that way you're covered in case of anything like emergency related happens to you. I would say after that, you can invest the money. Make sure the money's working for you. You can put it towards a retirement account, or you can, buy whatever you want with it. But as long as your money's working for you in some sort of manner, I think that's acceptable and very good. Next question comes from both Mitchell and Hector. They had a very similar question, which was, how exactly does one start investing? Or how is the first investment done? I just started a brokerage account. Thoughts on how to invest? This is a great question. I think that, well, first of all, for one of you guys, you need a brokerage account, first of all, to invest. And that's just because a brokerage account allows you to buy and sell stocks. So first of all, you'll need a brokerage account, and then you'll also need some money to start investing, obviously. And I like to recommend having some sort of cushion in your savings account, for example, just like in our previous question, before you actually start investing. So only invest money that you are willing to lose, even though some investments are very low risk and you know that you're gonna get a return on them. It's just better to kind of go in with the mindset of, okay, I might lose this money, because that sets your expectations a little bit better. I did just write an Investing 101 17-page guide, and it's completely free. I put it in my Discord and my Patreon, so if you'd like to check that out, I'll put that in the link in the description below so that you can get that free resource. The next question comes from Hayden Rez, and he wants to know, what would I do differently starting again at the age of 20? Now, I assume this is financially related, but I'm gonna first talk about things that I would do differently on a personal level. And I think that on a personal level, I probably would have been maybe more assertive with the women that I wanted to date. Maybe for a long time, I wasn't like the most straightforward or outgoing type of individual. And I think in my early 20s, I was just too afraid to ask somebody out. And I don't think that I ever got over that fear. I mean, these days it's a little bit better. I've mustered up the courage to ask people out before, but especially these days in the world of dating apps, the old school approach somebody and talk to them and have a nice conversation and ask them out afterwards doesn't really happen that often. I think that if you can do that and avoid the dating apps altogether, you're just operating on a different level. You're just like playing a different game. You're playing, chess when they're all playing checkers, if you will. But clearly that hasn't really worked for me. So let's just talk about financially speaking. I think I would have taken definitely more risks at the age of 20 to 25. Like there was a time, for example, when I saw Tesla IPO in 2011 or 2012, and I remember looking at the stock and being like, oh, look, it's like at $30 a share. That seems kind of high. I don't think I'm gonna buy any, but at the time I had $2,000 to $3,000 available to invest. I mean, if I had just put a little bit of money in that, I would have been golden, obviously, but clearly I didn't do anything with it. So I think that when you're in your early 20s, the more that you can take on risks and the more that you can kind of hop on a trend or hop on something that's new, I think the more that you'll learn, pretty quickly. For example, I've always liked YouTube, and even in 2010, 11, 12, I was watching a lot of YouTube, but it never really crossed my mind to be a creator on YouTube until maybe 2015. But I wish I had started this sooner, because now that I have and I'm comfortable with the camera a little bit, hopefully, I realized that it's a pretty great opportunity and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So I think that I would have just taken more risks when I was younger. Hopefully that answers your question, Hayden. And next question comes from Danny Chavez. Do you do TikTok and YouTube as a side hustle and have 9-to-5 work? Or are you all in your content, or you are all in? I'm all in on my content. That's the question. Or do I have a normal 9-to-5? This is a pretty common question I get a lot. So right now, creating content is a side job for me. I do still consult for a couple clients on the e-commerce side. I have my own e-commerce site, and I like to consider those my main things that I do. But the fact of the matter is I probably spend more of my week creating content because I, one, like it, and two, it actually pays the bills to a certain extent. And I know that if I continue to grow my channels, hopefully, one, people are way more educated about financial content. Two, people come to me as a trusted source of knowledge in terms of financial content and other personal finance related inquiries. And third, hopefully I can make a living off of it because I do enjoy it more than the other work that I do. So hopefully that answers your question, Danny Chavez. Right now, my time is kind of split, but it would be my dream to just do this all the time. Question from Ryan, which is Mixter, but I actually met Ryan in person. So he actually came and said hi to me when I was just standing around eating lunch in a town near me. So I appreciate that, and nice to meet you as well. So he wants to know, how did the time it took to get to 30K compared to your expectations? So I was at 20,000 subscribers maybe on August 1st, I think. So that was almost a month and a half ago, and we've already hit 30,000. So I'm really pleased with that. My TikTok grew incredibly fast this year. So I think my expectations were a little bit mismatched, I would say. I was like, man, I'm gonna be like, I had 100K on YouTube so quickly. But I know that YouTube's a lot harder and it takes a lot longer. So, and discoverability on YouTube is a lot harder as well. So I know that it's just gonna take some time, but hopefully you guys are enjoying the content that I'm putting out. I just am enjoying the process right now. And even filming this, like, I'm having a really good time filming this. So hopefully you guys see that. And if you do, drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. I always love hearing from people, especially when they just drop even like a simple comment, like about, I don't know, the content in some sort of manner, or maybe something what I'm wearing or whatever it is. I just love comments. So drop me a comment, seriously. Okay, next question from Michelle Lean. Are financial advisors worth it? What should I look out for? What should I look out for? God, I wish I could read. What should I look out for when looking for one? Financial advisors, I think, are worth it if you need financial planning done. What I mean by that is they'll help with like the intangible parts of investing, like guiding you through market turbulence or estate planning, which might not even be in the wheelhouse of investing, or maybe your retirement planning, or you're about to have 2 kids, or you're about to buy your second home. A financial advisor can be really great for that. I would say the one thing to look out for when you are hiring a financial advisor is really drill down into their fee schedule and see how they're compensated. Because the last thing you want is for a financial advisor that you supposedly trust to kind of put your money into financial products that aren't really making sense for you. I hope that makes sense. Like, a lot of mutual funds that financial advisors might advise you to invest in will have what's called an upfront fee, or like, I think it's called front loaded. I forget the exact term, but you'll get charged a lot of fees up front, and those are the ones that I would avoid. And just really make sure that your financial advisor has your best interests at heart. Next question is, which webpage do you recommend for beginner investors? This question comes from Body Maciel. I'm sorry if I messed up your name. When I'm talking to people and they want to know where to read about investing, I really like to direct them to Investopedia, which is like a Wikipedia for all investing terms. And they also have really, really great videos, depending on what term you're looking up. And then the other one is actually Reddit. So Reddit has a subreddit called Investing, and I believe the full URL is reddit.com/r/investing. And there you'll see a lot of investing discussions. And I'm the kind of guy that learns a lot from when people are having discussions with one another. I like to kind of read, all the different sides, and then to do more research on my own to kind of come to a conclusion about what they're trying to say. Like, I'm not going to take all the comments in Reddit at face value, because we know that most people on Reddit don't really know what they're talking about. But occasionally you do get some good knowledge from a Reddit comment, and then what you can do is then take that as inspiration for research and maybe go to Investopedia and learn about it. So I like to suggest Reddit and Investopedia for that reason. Next question comes from Andrews Arroyo. Favorite TV shows, movies, docs, pop music artists, cough, Mandy Moore, cough. I do love Mandy Moore, don't get me wrong. That's just been kind of like a thing that I've had since, I think I was like in 7th grade or 8th grade when I first saw her first music video, and I was like absolutely enchanted by Mandy Moore singing Candy to me. And she's like 17 in it, or 16, 15 I think in it, and I'm like 12, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. But TV shows, let's talk about TV shows before we talk about Mandy Moore again. Right now I've been watching Succession, which I really like on HBO. A friend of mine got me into it. I'm on like episode 6 of the first season, so don't tell me what happens, please. But it's such a great show. I'm like really enthralled by it. That's one of the shows that I generally just put down my phone for, because I think it's just so great. My other favorite all-time shows are The Office, Seinfeld, Boy Meets World, if you're out there. And my favorite movie is definitely Superbad. I know that's super weird, but I love Superbad. I love the humor in it. That's like my type of humor. It's just like, it's kind of, I don't even know what the word is. It's just, I can't come up. I know what word I'm trying to say, but it's just a funny movie, and I really like that crude humor. That's what I like. And music these days, I know you didn't ask me about music, but we were talking about pop music artists. So some of the music that I've been really listening to these days and digging these days is an artist named Clairo, and I think she's like 21 or 22, and she sings indie pop, kind of with like, she's very voicey. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm not very good with adjectives, obviously, but yeah, Clairo is definitely up there. I still love Mandy Moore, of course. I do listen to Taylor Swift. There's a Reputation stadium tour thing right here. If we go, yeah, pretty cool. Next question is there a certain amount of money someone should have before investing in stocks? Thank you, Mr. Beck. Well, first of all, I think that you need to have your emergency fund covered. So once you have the emergency fund covered and you don't have any like existing bills that you still need to pay, or any existing debt that might be looming over you with like a really high interest rate, I would suggest at least starting with $1,000 when you invest, because when you start with like $25 or $100 to invest, the gains on $100 just aren't very substantial. Like, let's say you gain 10% on $100, like you made $10. It'll take you a while to kind of kick in the compound interest and the compound returns, like so long that I think that $100 would be better spent on learning more skills so that you could make more money to invest more money quicker, if that makes sense. That's what I would say. Is I would suggest emergency fund first, make sure your debt's not crazy, and then at least $1,000 to start would be my recommendation. Next question comes from Diana. Why does my employer only offer a 403B? Diana, this is most likely because you work for a nonprofit. 403Bs are typically for public sector and nonprofit organizations only. So a 401k, you would be able to get that at a private sector company, like a private company like Facebook or something like that, who's not doing anything for the public. 403Bs are pretty good. I believe that you can make even more contributions to 403Bs after you've been at your organization for like 15 years or more. And they can actually be quite advantageous in that regard, as well as have many of the same offerings that a 401k does. So be happy with a 403b. I think that's pretty cool. Hopefully your organization matches a little bit of your contributions. And if you'd like to learn more about what to invest in a retirement account, I do have some videos on that as well. The next question comes from Young. How are you so good looking? That's a question I ask myself every day. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. First of all, I don't think I'm like the best looking guy. I don't think I'm the worst looking guy, but appreciate this comment. You were very nice to me. Comments like this make me always smile and laugh, so I appreciate that. The next question comes from Connor McIntosh. One big tip for young entrepreneurs. So I would say for young entrepreneurs, especially if you're under the age of like 25, maybe under the age of 21, I think that persistence is really key, and having more of a long-term vision is going to be more beneficial to you as an entrepreneur, because so many times we just want to get rich quickly, or that's like the goal of an entrepreneur is like, oh, let's just get rich in like 2 years and never have to work again. But the reality is that building a business or doing anything on your own takes a lot of time. And me, myself right now, I've been working on my own for about the past 4 years now. And finally, I feel like I have a footing in working for myself, and that I'm actually getting some legs, and I'm actually gonna, make a decent amount of money this year. For a while, I just wasn't really making that much money. I was scraping by. I still live at home. Like, this is my childhood home. So obviously I'm not paying rent there, which is really nice, but I don't think I can make it out on my own as of right now if you were to just like kick me out today. So I'm trying to use this time that I have at home to kind of build up a good foundation, so that when I finally do live on my own, I have enough of an income, I have enough things going on that I can really support myself full time as a self-employed entrepreneur. I would say that, yeah, if I wanted to go work for a big corporation, I could probably sustain myself already right now. But I think that, you have to make a lot of sacrifices when you're an entrepreneur. And you should definitely have like a longer term vision, because it's usually a 5, 10, 15, 20 year process. It's not going to be an instant success overnight. I mean, there are instant successes overnight, but even if you ask those guys, if those guys or girls, excuse me, if they were overnight successes, they probably would tell you no, that they've been working on it in the background for 7 or 8 years or something like that. So that's my one big tip: persistence, patience, knowing that it's a long-term game. That'll get you a lot further, as well as you'll make sounder decisions knowing that it's a longer-term game rather than a short-term game. Because let's say in the short term you just need to make money, you're going to do some not so great things, I suppose. Next question comes from Rana. I hope I got your name right. Thoughts on Student Discover Card? I think that the Student Discover Card is one of the best cards for students. I love it, especially the secured option. If they have a secured option, is really good. I have a whole video on beginner credit cards, including credit cards for students. So I'll link that in the description, or I'll link it up here somewhere, but you can check that video out as well. Next question is, will paying off debt early, such as car and student loans, negatively affect my credit score? The short answer is no. So paying debt off early will not hurt your credit score, and I don't think it's ever a bad idea to pay off your debt early. All right, guys, that was the Q&A. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I know I just talked for a really long time, but hopefully you found some insight there and you got to know me a little bit more. If there are more questions that you would love answered about me, just let me know in the comments below or in my Instagram. Please follow me there as well. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you guys have any video ideas or video suggestions that you would like to see in the future, please let me know. That's it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for 30,000 subscribers. I am so appreciative of you guys. I will see you guys next week. Peace.